My father, he just passed away. And unfortunately, I'm going through all this trouble when my mother-in-law decides to get in the middle of it because, guys, first of all, she's always hated me. And now I find out she's coming after my inheritance, and you're probably wondering, well, how could she do that? I'm going to tell you guys, but first I'm going to go back a little bit and explain our relationship because it is so messy.
Hey everyone, I need to get this off my chest. My mother-in-law, let's call her Linda, has always been a source of tension in my marriage. But what she did regarding my inheritance crossed a line I never thought that she would. Here's the full story. My husband Mark and I have been married for 10 years. From the start, Linda made it clear that she did not approve of me. She thought I was beneath Mark, who comes from a wealthy family. I grew up in a middle-class family and worked hard to put myself through college. And build a career. Linda never respected that and always made snide comments about my background. For the most part, I tried to ignore her. I focused on my relationship with Mark and built a good life together. But things took a turn when my father passed away 2 years ago. My father and I were very close, and his death was devastating of a blow. However, he left me a substantial inheritance, including a beautiful house, and had been in our family for generations, some stocks, and a significant amount of money. Well, when Linda found out about my inheritance, her attitude shifted. Suddenly, she was overly friendly and interested in my life. At first, I thought maybe she was just turning over a new leaf, but I quickly realized she had ulterior motives. Linda began dropping hints about how it would be smart to merge my inheritance with our finances, suggesting that Mark and I should put everything into a joint account. She even suggested selling the family home, saying, "It's just a house, dear. Think of all the opportunities that money could bring." I don't know, I was horrified. The house my father left me was not just a property, it was a symbol of my family's legacy. Memories. So I flat out refused to sell it and combine my inheritance with Mark. I told her that my father's assets were meant for me and any future children Mark and I might have. Linda did not take kindly to my refusal. She starts planting seeds of doubt in Mark's mind, saying things like, "Don't you think it's odd that she doesn't want to share her inheritance with you? Marriage is about sharing everything, isn't it?" Well, Mark and I have always had a solid relationship, but Linda's meddling started to create tension. We had several arguments about the inheritance, and Mark saying that he felt like I didn't trust him. I tried to explain that it was not about trust, it was about the honoring of my father's wishes and maintaining a sense of independence. Well, the breakdown point came when I discovered that Linda had gone behind my back to consult with a lawyer about contesting my father's will. She was trying to find a loophole that would allow Mark to claim half of my inheritance. I was furious and confronted her, and she had the audacity to say that she was, quote, "just looking out for her son's best interest." I could not believe the nerve of this woman. I told Mark what she had done, and he was shocked, so he assured me that he had no idea and would talk to her. The damage was already done, though. My trust in both Linda and, to a lesser extent, Mark was shaken. That's when I decided I needed to take action. I wasn't going to let Linda manipulate and control our lives any longer. I came up with a plan to ensure my inheritance was protected and to teach Linda a lesson that she would never forget. So first, I contacted a lawyer to make sure my inheritance was airtight. We set up a trust for the house and the assets, making it legally impossible for anyone but me and eventually our children to access them. I also moved the money into a separate account in my name only. Then I started documenting everything. Every conversation, every email, every text message from Linda that could be used as evidence of her manipulation and harassment. I wanted to have a solid case if things escalated a bit further. So guys, the next part of my plan was a bit more subtle. I knew Linda prided herself on her social status and image. She was always trying to maintain the appearance of a perfect little family. So I started sharing a little bit of information about her behavior with her social circle. I would casually mention how difficult she was making things for us, how she was interfering in our financial matters, and how disrespectful she had been about my father, his passing. Word spread quickly, and Linda's friends and acquaintances started to see her true colors. She was no longer the respected matriarch, but a meddling, greedy woman. She had lost face in her social circles, which was a huge blow to her ego. Meanwhile, I encouraged Mark to attend therapy with me. I wanted us to work through the issues Linda had caused and rebuild our trust. It was a long, challenging process, but it helped us communicate better and understand each other's perspectives. Mark began to see how toxic his mother's influence was and started distancing himself from her. The final nail in the coffin came when I discovered that Linda had been hiding a financial secret of her own. See, she had been embezzling money from a charity that she was involved with. I found the evidence while going through some old family documents that had been left at her house, and at first I could not believe it, but the more I looked into it, the clearer it became. I had a choice to make. I could confront her directly, or I could use this information strategically. I chose the latter. So I anonymously tipped off the charity's board and provided the evidence. It wasn't long before Linda was facing legal trouble and a massive scandal. Her downfall was swift and brutal, and she was removed from the charity, facing public humiliation and had to pay back the embezzlement funds. Her reputation was absolutely ruined, and she was ostracized from her social circle. With Linda out of the picture, Mark and I were able to focus on healing our relationship. The therapy helped us rebuild trust, and we came out stronger on the other side. We eventually had 2 beautiful children, and the family home my father had left me became a place filled with new, happy memories. I never told Mark about my role in Linda's downfall. He didn't need to know, and I didn't want to burden him with that knowledge. What mattered was that we were free from her toxic influence and able to live our lives in peace. To anybody dealing with a meddling mother-in-law, my advice is to stand your ground and protect what's yours. Don't let anyone manipulate you or undermine your relationship. And sometimes the best revenge is just living well and letting karma do the rest. Anyways, thanks for reading. I would love to hear your thoughts or similar experiences down below. Update number 1, 2 weeks later. Hey everyone, so I just wanted to give you an update on the situation with my mother-in-law Linda. It's been 2 weeks since I shared my story, and a lot has happened since then. Firstly, Mark and I are doing much better. The therapy sessions have really helped us reconnect and communicate more effectively. Mark has been very supportive and is now fully aware of how toxic Linda's influence was. He's been keeping his distance from her and focusing on our family. As for Linda, the fallout from the charity scandal was even more intense than I anticipated. Not only was she removed from the charity board, but she was also facing legal action. The charity is pressing charges for embezzlement, and it looks like she might actually serve jail time. Her social circle has completely turned against her, and she's essentially becoming a pariah in her community. But guys, here's the kicker. Linda found out it was me who tipped off the charity. I'm not entirely sure how she figured it out, but she did. She confronted me in a fit of rage, screaming about how I ruined her life and that I would pay for it. It was a terrifying encounter, but I stood my ground and told her that she brought this upon herself with her actions. Now, Linda's threatening to sue me for defamation, claiming that I made false accusations to ruin her reputation. So, my lawyers assure me that she does not have a case, especially given the evidence against her, but it's still a stressful situation. I'll keep you guys updated as things progress. Thank you for the support and advice so far. It's been incredibly helpful to know I'm not alone in dealing with this. Update number 2, 1 month later. Hello again. I just wanted to share the latest developments in the saga with this mother-in-law Linda. It's been a month since my last update, and things have taken some unexpected turns. Firstly, the legal battle with Linda, it's intensified, to say the least. Despite my lawyer's assurances, Linda managed to find a lawyer willing to take her case. We're now facing a defamation lawsuit, and it's been incredibly stressful. My lawyer is confident that we'll win, but the process is draining both emotionally and financially. On a more positive note, Mark and I are stronger than ever. The ordeal has actually brought us more close than ever. Well, really. And we've been supporting each other throughout the stress. We've been started to talk about renewing our wedding vows as a way to reaffirm our commitment to one another. Linda's legal troubles have also taken a toll on her health. She's been hospitalized twice for stress-related issues, and her behavior has become increasingly erratic. Despite everything she's done, I can't help but feel a little sorry for her. It's clear that her obsession with control and status has driven her to this point. The cliffhanger here is that we've just received a notice for a court date. It's coming up next week, and I'm anxious about what'll happen, but I'm also ready to face whatever comes our way. Guys, I'll update you all after the court with the outcome. Thank you for your continued support and encouragement. It means the world to me. Update number 3. 2 weeks later. I wanted to share the outcome of the court date and the latest developments in the ongoing saga. Well, it's been 2 weeks since we went to court, and a lot's gone down. The court date was incredibly nerve-wracking. Linda was there with her lawyers, and she looked completely different from the confident, manipulative woman that I've known. She seemed frail and defeated, which almost made me feel a pang of guilt. But I had to remind myself of everything she had put us through. The trial itself was intense. Linda's lawyers tried to paint me as a vindictive daughter-in-law who had fabricated the embezzlement story to ruin her life. They brought up every minor disagreement that we've ever had, twisting them to make me look like the villain. It was emotionally taxing, but my lawyer was there, and prepared. We presented the evidence of Linda's embezzlement, including documents and testimony from members of the charity board. We also showed the court the messages and emails where Linda had tried to manipulate and harass me about the inheritance. The judge was clearly unimpressed with Linda's actions and seemed sympathetic to our case. After a very grueling day in court, the judge ruled in our favor. Linda's defamation lawsuit was dismissed and she was ordered to pay our legal fees. It was a huge relief, but the victory felt bittersweet. Seeing Linda in such a pitiful state made me realize how far she had fallen from her once self-esteemed position. Despite the legal victory, the situation with Linda is not completely over. She's still facing embezzlement charges and her health continues to just deteriorate. Mark and I have decided to limit our contact with her for the sake of our own health. But it's been a difficult decision for him. He's struggling with the guilt of seeing his mother in such a dire state, even though he knows that she brought it on herself. We've also decided to take a break from the stress and just go on a family vacation. We need time to reconnect and focus on our happiness without the constant shadows of Linda's drama. We're planning to visit a little quaint, beautiful, secluded beach where we can relax and just recharge our brain. Anyways, I'll keep you all updated on how things progress. But for now, we're trying to find some peace and normalcy in our lives. Thank you for your continued support and understanding. It's been a lifeline for us during this time. Final update 1 month later. It says, hey, it's been a month since our vacation, and I just wanted to update you on the latest developments one more time. This time, it did some good. Us going away, it did wonders for our family. Mark and I were able to relax, enjoying each other's companies and create some beautiful memories with our children. It was exactly what we needed to reset and regain our strength. Unfortunately, the respite was short-lived. When we returned, we found out that Linda's health had taken a turn for the worse. She had a heart attack, was rushed to the hospital. Despite everything, Mark and I went to see her. She looked incredibly frail, incredibly weak, and hooked up to numerous machines. It was heartbreaking to see her like that, and I could see the pain in Mark's eyes. During our visit, Linda was surprisingly lucid. She apologized for everything that she had done and admitted that her actions were driven by fear and losing control and status. She said that she was deeply ashamed and wished that she could just take it all back. It was a moment of vulnerability I'd never seen from her, and it was clear that she was genuinely remorseful. So, Mark and I left the hospital with mixed emotions. On one hand, it felt good to hear her apology and know that she recognized the damage that she caused. On the other hand, it was hard to forget the pain and turmoil that she had put us through. Linda's health continued to decline. She was placed in hospice care, and Mark and I decided to go to visit her regularly. Not just for her sake, but for Mark's peace of mind. It was important for him to feel like he had done everything he could for his mom, despite their troubled past. Well, in her final days, Linda seemed to find some peace. She spent time with her grandbabies, telling them stories, sharing memories. It was a bittersweet experience for us, but it brought a sense of closure. Well, Linda, she passed away peacefully last week, and her death was left a void with us, but it's also allowed us to finally move on. The legal battle is over, and we can now focus on healing and rebuilding our lives without the constant stress and drama. So, Mark and I have decided to honor Linda's memory by setting up a scholarship fund in her name, dedicated to helping underprivileged students. It feels like a fitting way to turn something negative into a positive legacy. Thank you, everybody, for the support throughout this. That's all I really have to say.
Alright guys, that was today's story. I do want to read some comments posted. These two comments were arguing back and forth with each other. The first comment comes from Truth Seeker 91. It says, I think OP did what she had to do. Linda was clearly out of line, trying to manipulate and steal her inheritance. Protecting her father's legacy and ensuring her family's future, it was the right move. I mean, people like Linda need to face the consequences for their actions. If OP had not taken those steps, who knows how much damage Linda could have done. Good on OP for standing her ground and fighting back. And that's when the second commenter comes in and says, no. While I understand OP's frustration, I think she took things too far. Exposing Linda's embezzlement and ruining her life was so extreme. There could have been other ways to resolve this without destroying her mother-in-law's reputation and causing such a family rift. OP should have tried harder to work things out with her husband and Linda, rather than going absolutely nuclear. It just feels like overkill, and I might have been more about revenge than justice. So guys, knowing those two commenters, whose side are you on? Drop it down below. Let's talk about it in our comment section. And if you guys are new to the channel, this is my revenge channel. And yes, I will be posting videos way more frequently now, so make sure you subscribe for daily revenge stories. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.